I reviewed the Xiaomi 14 at the start of the year, and it was one of the most satisfying phones that I've ever used thanks to the excellent hardware, top class camera performance, and actually super fast charging. But it did have its issues, especially with HyperOS, which kept me from using it as my daily driver after a couple of months. Several updates later, we're now at the middle of the year, so I thought it was the perfect time to revisit this phone and let you guys know how things are going for the Xiaomi 14. The good news is that it's even better than before, and I might even go back to this phone full time until the Xiaomi 15, which comes out later this year. In my original review, I said that the very simple design is the least exciting part about this phone. I still stand by that, but I have to say that this hardware is really aging well. There's nothing too unique about it, and that camera bump is still really big, but this minimal matte black version looks as sleek as any other flagship phone out there. I love the shiny coated flat aluminum frame, which actually adds some nice grip and feels really premium. What makes it feel so good is the perfect balance of size and weight. Even with the medium-sized 6.3-inch display, it's fairly narrow and always felt comfortable to use one-handed, especially with a flat frame. At 190 grams, it's not too heavy or too light. It's just enough to feel rock solid and high quality while being comfortable to use for long usage periods. Even when side by side with the titanium iPhone 15 Pro, the Xiaomi feels just as good, if not better. Plus, the haptics on here are top-notch and just as good as the iPhones. You're not missing anything either. You get a dual physical SIM tray, an IP68 water and dust resistance rating, and a pretty decent quality TPU case included in the box. And that 6.36-inch display is really hard to beat and goes head-to-head or even beats all the flagships coming out in 2024, including those from Samsung. It's a high-resolution LTPO OLED with a variable refresh rate and can get up to 3000 nits of peak brightness, which is pretty crazy since it's not even the Pro or Ultra version. The auto brightness is really quick and reliable, and I have no trouble using this display in the sunlight. I do have to mention that there is still no extra dim option, so it doesn't get as dark as I wanted to during bedtime. By default, the colors are tuned just right, not too dull, not overly saturated, but definitely vivid enough where there are vibrant colors on display. I love looking at this for all kinds of content, from Instagram photos to streaming YouTube and Netflix. And even though it's not the biggest display, it's not a small display either, so it gets the double benefit of being one-hand friendly while being big enough for watching full screen videos. I also found the touch responsiveness to be really fast. Coming from my Galaxy S24 Plus, the Xiaomi 14's display did feel noticeably more responsive. Even for the relatively compact size, I found the dual stereo speakers to be pretty impressive. They get really loud without having to turn up the volume much, and the sound quality is clean. Really crispy audio for podcasts and YouTube videos, and even though this phone's not 100% compatible with my carrier network here in Korea, the call quality and volume are really clear, so I never have to worry about that. And overall, in terms of durability, this thing has been a tank. I've been beating this thing up, traveling, putting it in bags and backpacks. It has no visible scratches at all on the body, and really surprisingly, even without a screen protector on the entire time, the front glass has barely any micro scratches. I've had the Galaxy S24 Plus for a much shorter amount of time, and that glass has way more visible micro scratches compared to the Xiaomi 14. But to protect what's actually inside, like all your personal data and private info while taking your phone around, you're definitely going to need something extra. That's why I always recommend using a VPN whenever you're online, and a really good one at that is Surfshark VPN, the sponsor for this video. Even when connected to secured Wi-Fi networks, you're potentially opening up your device to potential hackers that can spy on all your activity while stealing your private data, including your passwords and bank information. This is why I really recommend using Surfshark VPN. By masking your IP address and your online activity, Surfshark protects you and your device. Especially when I'm outside, I always make sure to have it on to give myself that extra sense of safety. Of course, being a VPN, Surfshark gets you the double benefit of letting you stream and watch content that aren't available in your region. While some other VPNs get blocked by streaming services, Surfshark actually works for the ones I use, and there's a lot more countries to choose from compared to other VPNs. On top of all that, Surfshark isn't just a VPN app either. It's now a fully featured security software with antivirus, personal data monitoring alert system, a totally private, anonymous search engine, and you can even protect your identity browsing online with an alternative ID to hide from trackers. You get all this with one affordable subscription, which is super convenient and nice on the wallet. And if you use my link below, you can get an exclusive Surfshark deal. Enter promo code HoYoungWon for an extra 4 months free and subscribe to Surfshark VPN. If you're not satisfied, Surfshark also offers 30-day money-back guarantee. So click that link below, get your discount, and get Surfshark VPN today. The biggest reason I love using the Xiaomi 14 was the excellent Leica camera system. It doesn't have a 1-inch sensor like the Xiaomi 14 Pro or the 14 Ultra, but the Light Fusion 900 sensor and the variable aperture can capture just about the same amount of light. Plus, the sheer quality of the 3x optical telephoto lens is really hard to beat. The camera hardware allows you to get portraits with some really nice natural bokeh and depth of field, which is really similar in style with an actual mirrorless camera. Even when using zoom for 1.5 to 2.5x digital crops, you still get good, clear details. So this allows you to get dynamic shots where you're not compromising any quality, which a lot of photography enthusiasts will love. I also love how the camera system softens details instead of over sharpening, which happens a lot on other phones due to HDR. The iPhone is notorious for that, so I much prefer the Xiaomi 14's photos. The default Leica Vibrant or Leica Authentic filters produce excellent photos in their own ways. Of course, if you want more of a realistic look, you can use a Leica Authentic filter. Personally, I really like how the Vibrant filter tunes the photos for nice vibrant colors while getting contrast and shadow levels just right. Sometimes it overdoes it, but most of the time, especially in daylight and indoors, it gets it right and improves each and every photo that I take where I don't have to do any additional editing afterwards. But after 7 months and compared to Xiaomi 14 with other flagship camera systems, I am starting to notice a few weaknesses that I hope are improved for the Xiaomi 15. While the shutter speed and post-processing are pretty instant on this phone, it has a hard time focusing and capturing moving subjects. The photos aren't blurry, but there's a pretty noticeable drop-off from their usual results. Even though this phone takes great low-light photos, movement also does affect the results even more here, and I noticed the telephoto lens struggling to keep a good focus in tougher lighting conditions. While the selfie camera is a big upgrade from previous generations, the post-processing does a little too much more often than not, overexposing shots even in clear daylight. But like the rear camera, the selfies do like to soften details, which is more flattering when shooting faces, and it does get my skin tone pretty accurately, which I like more than most phones. The video quality is not as impressive as the stills, but it's still one of the cleanest video shooters I've seen from the Android side. Definitely not as cinematic as the photos, but the stabilization is very good, and this is a reliable video shooter for anything you need to do. Even with some digital cropping, I wasn't losing much fidelity, so I actually much preferred using the Xiaomi 14 for shooting my short form content over my Galaxy S24 Plus. Less impressed with the selfie video quality due to some overexposure instances, but I love the microphone quality and the phone never overheated on me from shooting a lot of 4K videos. So yeah, still in love with this camera. The results are really top class in smartphones today. I love how responsive and fast this camera app is. There's just a few things that need some work for the Xiaomi 15's camera, so really looking forward to that later this year. What has noticeably improved is HyperOS. Xiaomi launched HyperOS 1.0 with this phone, and I really love the aesthetics, especially all the lock screen customization options, the responsiveness, and the animations. Combined with the fast touch responsiveness, the vibrant OLED display, and how nice HyperOS looks, the general navigation on HyperOS feels really satisfying on the Xiaomi 14. And after all the updates, it has improved in many areas. There's way less of those occasional random jitters, the background app management is still relatively aggressive but much better than before. I'm not having as much issues with notifications anymore, but you still have to do a ton of pre-setup to make sure this is all working, such as putting all your important apps to auto start in unrestricted mode. And just like what Samsung's been advertising on their phones, Xiaomi has a lot of new AI editing features available on the Xiaomi 14, including Object Eraser and AI expansion. And the AI processing is actually really quick, and I was super impressed with what I could do with these new features. So it's not just Samsung and Google that has these types of features. There are still some missing features like the extra dim mode for using your phone at night, and a lot of battery usage information missing, including screen on time and battery health info. So yeah, I still want to see more features and big stability improvements for the next version of HyperOS, but my major complaints seem to be solved, and I can comfortably go back to using HyperOS as a daily driver. There's really no need to check in on the performance, but as a quick recap, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 in the Xiaomi 14 simply dominates whatever I throw at it, including Genshin Impact, CapCut video editing, and AI processing. Plus, with the HyperOS bugs getting fixed, I can feel even more the speed on this phone. I use my phone a lot and I multitask a ton with video playing in multiple pop-up windows. This phone just doesn't slow down, and the thermal management is excellent no matter what I'm doing. Of course, if you play something like max settings Genshin Impact for long play sessions, you will feel the phone getting warm, but it's never enough to be uncomfortable. With a pretty big battery capacity, the Xiaomi 14 already had pretty good battery life, getting me a full day of use until bedtime with about 4.5 to 5 hours of screen on time on average. This hasn't changed at all in the last 7 months, so that's good news there. But really, the biggest upside with the battery here is the ultra fast charging. The 90-watt charger is included in the box, and it gets me a full charge from 0 to 100% in just over 30 minutes, which is still insane. I really can't get over how convenient this makes my life. When I'm about to go outside and the battery is low, you really don't have to calculate how long your phone's going to last when you have this in your bag. There's phones with even faster charging times, but this is already pretty crazy, and it's hard for me to switch to other phones with slower charging times. Okay, so after 7 months, even though the Xiaomi 14 has a few of the same issues, it's improved a ton in the important areas, and I like this phone even more than when I first unboxed it. The sleek hardware and the ultra bright OLED display are growing on me even more as time goes on. The Leica camera system is still top class even after all these 2024 flagships have come out over the last few months. HyperOS has improved a ton and the biggest issues seem to have been solved, and that 90-watt charging never gets old. So yeah, the Xiaomi 14 is holding on and even better than before. If you can find a good deal for this wherever you're at, I definitely recommend giving it a go if you're looking to upgrade sometime soon. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this video. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on the Xiaomi 14 and what you're looking for with the upcoming Xiaomi 15. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video.